us through were the things that we learned before we were 10 years old. I'd like to open up the questions now. Just raise your hand or yell it out, and you can ask any question you want about anything, and I'll do the best I can to answer them.
How did you feel when the Vietnam War was over?
How did I feel when the war was over? I felt real good, real good. It was a long war and a very difficult war to understand. But the reason we went there was to win this war. I volunteered to go. I would go again if I had to. And we wanted to win. That was our number one ambition. That's what we really wanted, was to win this war. It took us a long time. So when it was finally over, when we knew that we had won, we felt great. We really felt great.
What did Vietnam look like?
What did Vietnam look like? Well, if it wasn't for the people, it was very pretty. The people over there are very backward and very primitive, and they just make a mess out of everything.
What do you feel about the people that went and burned their draft cards and went into Canada?
We don't agree with them. I think these people were legally wrong. I think sometimes they were cowards. If they wanted to leave and go to Canada, that's okay. But they can't come back, though. In other words, they have disagreed. They say, we don't like your country, we don't like your people. They're saying that to you and me. You know, I don't like you, so I'm leaving. Well, fine, that's okay. There's no reason to hate a guy for that, because that's also his right. But he can't come back.
Instead of helping and aiding the Vietnamese people, I saw that we were party to their deliberate and systematic destruction. The Vietnamese were all considered less than humans, inferiors. We called them gooks, slopes. Their lives weren't worth anything to us because we've been taught to believe that they were all fanatical and that they were all VC or VC sympathizers, even the children. Many of us, however, began to understand through our personal experiences in Vietnam the depth of the lies and deceptions practiced upon us and the American people by our country's leaders. It was they who trained us to kill without question and to hate our enemy, the Vietnamese. They concocted such phrases as kill ratios, search and destroy, free fire zones, secure areas, and so on to mask the reality of their combat policy in Vietnam. I make no apology for this act of resistance. I could do nothing else at the time. But underground life has become intolerable to me. So I'm here today to draw attention to the true facts concerning my case and the cases of tens of thousands just like me. We are not criminals to be hunted and imprisoned. Over 500,000 of us have deserted the military since 1965. Most of us have already returned to the military to be punished with jail and bad discharges that will be carried around for the rest of our lives. And it is a supreme irony to be prosecuted by the very same men who planned and executed a genocidal war in Indochina.
Now, inside this hearing room, Eddie Souders has surrendered himself. Urged on, he says, by a hand-to-mouth underground existence, it still nags at many of his fellow deserters who continue to look over their shoulders. Paul Udall, NBC News, Washington.
How was your sound? One more time.
Let me respectfully tell the American people that this is their dirtiest and longest war. The Vietnamese fight only in self-defense. Ultimately, the Americans will see the light. If not, they will defeat themselves.
You know, Vietnam reminded me of a child, the developing of a child. The laws of nature control the development of this child. The child has to sit up before it crawls. It has to crawl before it walks. It has to walk before it runs.
No matter how many decades America fights, it will never conquer Vietnam, never. I'm telling you so that you will go back and repeat it to President Nixon. Over here, as long as there is rice to eat, we'll keep fighting. And if the rice runs out, then we'll plow the fields and fight again.
I know very little about it over there, I'll tell you. And the less I know, the better off I'll be.
It has not affected me a whole lot. I mean, the American, the way of life is still here. And if you work for it, it's there for you.
But we're taught that we're to obey our governments. And I would have to go if I was instructed to.
Once in a while I think about it, but I like to think about the things that are happening right now to me.
I don't think it's affected mine at all.
I don't even know who we're fighting for over there, to be real honest with you. I think we're fighting for the North Vietnamese, ain't we?
I fled from Dao Tien to go live in Sui Dua. Then I was allowed to go back. I went back and stayed in Ben Chua. While I was in Ben Chua, trouble broke out again. So I was taken up to Koh Tak. I was picked up again and sent to Ben Chua to be lumped together with the others. My house burned down while I was away. Once more, I got sent to Koh Tak. I fled 5, 6, at least 7 times already. The lives of my countrymen are worth no more than that of a fly. You take it and swat it dead. Just like that.
Nhào vô đó nha. Nhào vô đó nha. Cái đường ra này. Chưởng vô cái chưởng ra này nè. Chưởng vô đó, tầm hồn chưởng vô đó, cái chưởng ra này. Vậy nó ngại muốn bài hết trơn chưởng ra.
Ê, mỏng mỏng đó nha, đừng có làm vậy không có ngon mấy anh. Dạo ở trong cũng vậy đó, lót mỏng mỏng nó ngon.
Ladies, let me tell you. There once were some women amusing themselves, and one pushed the other onto a table. The lady's falsies broke the table in two. If a table breaks, think of what would happen to a man's face.
Watch it, they're filming. Don't make jokes. People in America will think we're ridiculous.
We have about 15 companies now, including insurance company and tractor company. We are in the hotel business, in the travel agency business. We are the exclusive dealer for Ford in the country, Ford cars. Oh, many, many other things, like an oil company in the forming. We have a bottling company. In other words, we greatly believe in the future of this country, and we think there's a great future for Vietnam, and we think that Vietnam will be livable, will not go communist, because otherwise all these companies will go to waste. And the way we work is we take a calculated risk. If we don't lose South Vietnam within the next 3 to 5 years, then nobody can catch up with us. I'm a Johnny-come-lately as far as war profiteering is concerned. The reason why I organized this group of companies is because when I, was in Paris, I saw that peace was coming whether we liked it or not. Therefore, I got home in order to prepare for peace. All these companies have been organized in order to prepare for peace and prepare for the economic takeoff that will come with peace. Like we have the infrastructure of hotels, of travel agencies and things like that, but of course there are no tourists in Vietnam now, but there will be. And we are getting ready for that sort of thing.
Almost worth the trouble, right? Exactly.